We are ready to step into the papers, the headlines, the big stories that have Nigeria talking, that have me, that have you talking and looking at how to make sense of it all. This is where we get to look at the stories, get analysis, your thoughts and contributions also play a big part in everything that we'll be doing for the next half hour or thereabouts. This is Freshly Pressed on the Smooth Breakfast here on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. 31 minutes past 7 a.m. on a Monday morning, 6th day of October 2025. And it's going to be a great one. I can feel it. I don't know how I know. I just know. My name is Ayokunmi. Great to have you join us as per the usual. Please do keep up with us on WhatsApp and on YouTube as well. Those are the ways you can join the show, share your thoughts, your perspective, your opinions. Hey, we love to hear from you always. The WhatsApp number is 0911 999 0981 0911 It's the WhatsApp number. YouTube, you can catch the live stream at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Leave your comments in the chat box there, as you always do. All right. Two fine gentlemen are with me to take a look at the stories. One in the studio, one on Zoom, but he's here with us in the studio in spirit, anyways, in the persons of AB Bozimo and, of course, Mr. C. AB, great to see you again. Good morning.
Good morning to everyone in the studio. Good morning to our wonderful listeners. What a way to start off the week. We hope and pray that everyone's work, dreams, and ambitions will be realized this week.
Amen to that, Mr. C.
Good morning, Naya. Good morning, AV. Good morning, Lagos. Let's get off to a brilliant week, irrespective of the nonsense we're about to now.
I wasn't expecting that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are probably expecting or will be expecting this particular story coming out of the Premium Times. It's a heavy one. Well, the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, UNN, has disowned the Bachelor of Science degree certificate in the possession of the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Uche Naji, saying the politician did not complete his studies at the institution and was never issued a certificate. Now, the university's action came months after authorities at the NYSC similarly told Premium Times that the certificate of national service being paraded by Mr. Naji was strange to it and could not be authenticated. Now, Premium Times had, as part of a long-term investigation into the politician's educational and service history, forwarded a copy of the document to the NYSC headquarters in Abuja for verification. Mr. C, this is a very serious issue, talking about certificate forgery. And it's telling, it's interesting that this comes not too long after we took the story last week, talking about the government wanting to clamp down on certificate forgery and the like. And this has come to light fully now. What is happening here?
Okay, so thank you, Aya. So let's put everything in its proper perspective. This is not the outcome of an investigation by the government. This is a privately led investigation, and it's been on for about 2 years. It started in 2023. Now, we have a current member of the Federal Executive Cabinet called Mr. Uche Naji, and his credentials have been called into question. Now, when he was presenting his CV to the Senate sometime in 2023, he claimed, amongst other things, that he attended the University of Nigeria between 1981 and 1985. He studied microbiology and he was awarded a degree certificate. He also claims that he subsequently proceeded on the National Youth Service Corps scheme.
Right.
Now, letters to his school have now turned up quite the opposite. First of all, the school says, we can confirm Mr. Uche Naji was admitted to study microbiology. But we can also confirm he never graduated, he never finished his courses. And we now understand that at some point he was advised to withdraw the program. Now, it gets more interesting. His NYC certificate also has a glaring number of discrepancies from when it was signed, the person who signed it. So the person who signed the certificate was not in office at the time he should have gotten it. The person came into office much later. Even the designation of the person who signed was a futuristic designation.
Oh dear.
Now, we now also understand that Mr. Uchennaji filed a case at the Federal High Court. And as part of the material he filed at the Federal High Court, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this. Paragraph 13 of his affidavit in support of the motion seeking injunctive reliefs against the University of Nigeria from releasing his results to third parties was an admission that the school refused to issue a certificate to him, and he never collected a certificate. That is his own admission.
So what then did he present upon his appointment as a minister?
So two things. He admits the school has not issued a certificate to him. He also admits he did not collect a certificate. So to answer your question, it's a real mystery what he presented for screening. It's also an added mystery how he proceeded on his NYC one-year program, because even his certificate is dated, his NYC certificate, the commencement period is dated 4 months before he finished the degree program.
Gets murkier and murkier.
So another question jumps out. We always hear when ministers have been nominated that they go through screening. So the question to the authorities is, was this guy actually screened? I want to believe he wasn't screened. Let it not be said that he actually went through screening and passed, because that's more shameful. Let's just pretend that somehow he was overlooked, he wasn't screened, and this is it.
The whole minister overlooked for screening?
Ayo, what is more damning is that he skill screening with this nonsense. Now, it also now calls into question his West African school leaving certificate, even though no issues have been raised with respect to that. Given his antecedents, we must now check that certificate. Now, the bigger question here is, obviously he hasn't resigned. He thinks he can ride out the storm. But this is extremely low, even for the Nigerian political class. This is not the first time we've had politicians have issues with their credentials. We had a former minister who had issues with her certificate of exemption, resign and leave the country. We had another minister who, incidentally, is still a minister, complete her national service whilst being a minister.
Stranger things.
It then begs the question, where was she posted to when she was completing the national service?
The Federal
But
Executive
now,
Committee.
okay. So now we have a big problem. We have a big issue before us, not really a problem. How will this administration deal with this issue? We have a president who claims corruption has been, who against corruption has been won. He also wants to go against certificate forgers. Now, on paper, brilliant plan. Here's my humble suggestion, right? How many more members of the Federal Executive Cabinet have these issues or these kind of issues?
That's a very, very big question.
If you want to send a message that will resonate with Nigerians that enough is enough, no more certificate forgery, the message must flow from the top to the bottom. So what am I saying? The message or the exercise should start at the top. So let's start with the Federal Executive Cabinet. Can all the members of that cabinet submit their credentials? Let's have them cross-check, let's have them verified. And whoever is found wanting should please resign. You cannot have certificate forgeries in office because two things. One, it negates the advice or the admonition that people need to go to school to acquire skills to make a success of their lives, because they will point you out to people that have actually forged their way through life, and they'll tell you school is a scam. So we need to make this in the board. We need to set a very clear example, And Mr. Uchenachi, if he refuses to resign today, should not only be fired, he should be prosecuted. Because even the NYC has owned the certificate. Yeah, so now it's a 2-count forgery charge. Forgery of a university degree certificate, forgery of the NYC certificate. And it will be interesting to see how he scales these 2 charges. But really and truly, today should be his last day as a member of that cabinet. Whether he's fired or he resigns, and he must be prosecuted quickly and swiftly.
Right, right. Maybe I know you have a word to add to this. But before you do that, I just want to ask you now, looking at Nigeria's should I say antecedents where it comes to seeing issues like this to logical conclusions, what would this say about the government and the country as a whole if nothing comes out of this particular issue?
I'm telling you, I am not holding my breath that anything specific will come out of this issue. I would be hopeful. And like Mr. C said before we came on air, all these are alleged allegations. And if he can bring some form separate from his paragraph 13 of his own affidavit, where he deposed to the fact that he did not collect a certificate, yet he presented not one, but 2 certificates, one that can only necessarily follow the other non-issued certificate. Then if he can come out of it being a minister of science, perhaps he has some innovative ways to explain his time shift, being able to start NYSC before graduating. He's a unique person. I will look forward to those magical explanations. Other than that, Ayo, it is a slap in the face to the hundreds and thousands and millions of people who go through all sorts of steps and processes to earn the most elementary credentials. We've gone through, some of us have gone through those steps. Some of us tried and failed in the process. But for those who manage to do it, it is unseemly for somebody to remain in office under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to be literally in his kitchen cabinet with this. I'll say another thing. What impressed me about the story was how the investigators contrasted this individual's credentials with the credentials of many other present, serving, and former ministers and top government officials, showing how people who graduated around that time, this was a characteristic of their own certificate, the numbering sequence, and so on. I think it was a decent, in fact, a highly efficient investigation. And those who uncovered it, based on a whistleblower's report, should be commended. And the whistleblower, especially, whatever their motivation was, should be commended, because this kind of thing is embarrassing and disgraceful. We have 236 million Nigerians, according to the vice president. There are many other people who can do that job and do it well.
Yes, indeed. Well, Ibi, as you said, you are not holding your breath. And we all know how those who are in positions of power like to hold on to said power. Will this be the case? Well, I don't know. But one thing I do know is that issues concerning power are where we're heading to right now. We're stepping into the Guardian, where the Lagos State Electricity Regulatory Commission has officially issued distribution licenses to Excel Distribution Company Limited and IE Energy Lagos Limited, marking their takeover of electricity distribution operations from Eco Electricity Distribution PLC and Ikeja Electric PLC, respectively. AB, great stuff.
The positive in this story that I'll immediately grab is that there's an integration of the private sector into the electricity distribution system. And so that is in line with what President Tinubu announced very early in his administration, trying to liberalize the whole electricity sector and making it incumbent upon states to improve their energy sector. It is not a federal government thing. Each of us lives within a territory that's a state governed by a governor who has immense powers, not just to go to federal Council of States, where they just drink tea, but to actually improve the lives of those in their states through energy, transportation, etc. So this is the first good thing. Question for you. Are you on Gen right now in your studio?
Probably, I'm not even sure at this point.
That is the likelihood is that you are or you will be at some point during the day. So having a name change or a managerial change positive as that may be, what will matter is how it actually transforms access to electricity. And in this, they're talking about how this new change is going to bring innovation. What innovation do I want as a consumer more than if I press a switch, the light comes on? Okay, maybe there's a bit more. So you want them to come in with better metering, smart grid technologies. You want them to have opportunities to integrate renewables where possible. There are many things that a forward-looking distribution company can do to enhance the access to power and all that. So, as I say, on the surface, excellent development in terms of bringing in a new person to take over from government-based, managerial system. But their innovation must add value and indeed add power to the people at an affordable rate, because if you have a brand new monument and people cannot afford the power, they will still cry and collapse. Businesses will not be able to run, and the people who are coming in will not get what they hope to get. So I want this to work. I just want the managers to understand that they're there to serve their business. They must make profit, but they should try and ensure that their offering is eagerly accepted by those that they intend to serve. So, I just think this is a good indication of one of the policies that the president put in place. And for I think a few weeks ago, we talked about how only 7 states in Nigeria out of 36 plus 1 have started even investigating this improved energy sector. Only 7. And so the rest are failures, and they should really step up.
They really need to step up their game and, keep up. I mean, they have the mandate to do these things right now. So you just wonder what exactly
and the law to back
is stopping them. You just wonder. Let me take a message or two, Mr. C, before I come back to you. This is Tayo Inaja, who says, in view of the certificate forgery, he's still a serving minister and won't face punishment for it. If you're a big bird in Nigeria, the weak spider web won't stop you. Somebody that will still come out and run for office. Don't forget to add perjury as well. Aha. So there we are. Emeka Inikenja says, thanks to the University of University of Nigeria, Nsukka, for exposing unmerited certificates. I'm proud you have stood firm to restore the confidence and dignity of man. The minister must go to jail. This is Charles Infesta. He says, good morning, Ayo, Mr. C, and AB. Good morning to you. I bet you the science minister will not resign. He will tell you that there are many. He's not alone. When you analyze the entire certificate forgery, it's their regular format. It must be the same Uluwole shop that does it for them. The regular shop where induced errors in dates and signature as well. Is Uluwole still a thing? I haven't heard of Uluwole in a long time. Still functioning.
Yeah.
Legends of the game. Not in a good way, though, but legends of the game still. Anyways, Mr. C, let's step back in. And let's talk security matters. This one also a big deal, even though it's not a new thing per se, but it's in the Punch. Where it says some serving soldiers have revealed how officers and commanders sell arms and ammunition meant for Nigeria's war against terrorism and banditry. Now, the revelation followed the outrage that trailed resurfaced footage showing the confession of an arms dealer, which has been widely shared online.
Okay, so anyway, very quickly, this is not a new phenomenon. This is not a new episode. We've had this going back as far back as the 70s, the 80s. We've always had, and sadly will continue to have, rogue members of the security forces who corruptly use their positions to aid and abet criminals and non-state terrorist actors. So there's nothing new here. But what we see is 4 members of the armed forces have been tried and have been found guilty, convicted, and sentenced. 3 of them have been sentenced to life in prison, and 1 has been sentenced to 15 years in prison. It's very clear, even to the blind, that one of the reasons why we are not winning the war against non-state terrorist actors is because of the existence, connivance, and collusion of rogue elements within the security forces. If they're not selling them arms, they're giving them vital information as to troop movements, troop locations, timing of operations, and the like. And until we sort this out, we're not going to make any progress. Now, it's instructive to note that sometime in October last year, at the National Center for Small Weapons and Light Arms, the NSC openly admitted that there were rogue elements within the armed forces, and he actually went further to curse them, saying that it won't, that, well, we all get the idea with curses, but really and truly, it's a problem we have to nip in the bud. Let's not isolate it to the military. Even within the Nigeria police force, we have rogue elements who collude with armed robbers, with all sorts of men of the underworld. Now, how do we resolve this? One argument is improve the salaries. Yes, we agree their salaries are nothing to write home about. But to the criminally minded, even if you multiply the salary by 100 or 1,000, the criminally minded will always be the criminally minded. What is required is more control, more oversight over how weapons and ammunition are kept, dispersed, used, and retired. Because when you read the story, and I invite everyone to read it, unspent rounds of ammunition are left to the soldiers to do with at their discretion. Some bury the ammunition, some return them. So there must be improved oversight as to how ammunition is used and how the unspent rounds are sorted. So this is more work for the service chiefs, more work for the NSA, and we can only hope they start to get it right.
We can only hope they start to get it right. You know, so see, alluding to the NSA and curses, well, I'm not sure curses have ever actually solved problems like this before. But hey, there's always a first time for everything, you know.
Maybe in Harry Potter. Harry Potter,
well.
curses have an effect.
All right, Avi, let's talk some political matters. And this one, I'm sure will hit home in a manner of speaking, if you get my drift here. Let's head to Rivers State, where the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, the FCT, Nyesom Wike, has met with Governor Siminalayi Fubara and some elders of the state. Now, according to Liri Olayinka, Wike's media aide, who shared a picture of the meeting on social media, Martin Amewule, Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, also attended the meeting. Now, details of the meeting were not disclosed, but it's the first known one with stakeholders since Fubara fired his loyalists ahead of the formation of a new cabinet. Interesting that Nyesom Wike he's still involved in these matters. AB.
Well, like the report said, details were not disclosed. And so at the best, anybody is going to speculate, going to, project and all that. But during the time of the state of emergency, there were some peace building meetings, and we were led to understand, because at none of these meetings were proceedings or minutes ever released. A lot of people just hear things and they go with it, but we're told that appointment of the new commissioners is part of the agreements that were reached. All that said, a couple of days before that, the governor had assembled his cabinet, many of whom were appointed during the time of the misunderstandings, and he had done a valedictory session with them and told them that in line with the Supreme Court ruling, their appointments were not valid. And so he wished them well. And so if this is a precursor to the new appointments, we can only wait and see. There's nothing, as I say, on record that anybody can actually state definitively. It's only those in the room that may know what is planned and how it's going to be effected. So I guess we're watching more of the River State political drama. And all that I always say, and I have said from the very beginning, is that if the matters that concern the ordinary people of River State are not central to this conversation, if the conversation is all about structure, political appointments, and what they call it, future elections, then unfortunately, the people of River State are not being served as they ought. But again, we're just in these early stages post state of emergency, and we wait to see from the composition, it'll be a picture of what will come next. So this story, to be honest, is a bit of a non-story. The person who released the picture said he didn't know what was happening inside. So maybe it was just a photographer there. Fair.
Well, since major players are still involved in those matters, well, I just wonder what exactly was said in that room. Would have loved to be a fly on the wall at that particular time, but oh well. We'll see. As developments come out, we'll bring them to you most definitely. Joseph Meunier in Silver State says, Good morning, freshly pressed, my ever vibrant presenter, Ayo, and analysts, Mr. C and AB. It's unfortunate a minister is one of those who usually assumes school na scam in quotes. It's now obvious how many leaders are in office without qualifications. Well, we don't know how many. We know of this one right now. This is yet definitely inside. Allegedly, thank you very much. It's now obvious how many leaders are in, yet deafening silence from government. One time, Minister of Finance, Ms. Kemi Adeosun, whose offense was mere NYC documents. It's not mere.
There's no mere.
There's no mere. But she resigned for honor's sake. But this particular minister is still waiting for noise from Nigerians because quitting office. Well, like I said, allegedly, allegations. Hope the power regulator in Lagos won't be worse than NERC, who are always advocating for tariff hikes. May God help us. All right. Still talking about power. Let's talk about the Minister of Power, Mr. C. But not for power issues, for political issues in this instance. Daily Trust is what we're going to very quickly. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu has said it is his turn to become Oyo State Governor in 2027. Now, if we recall, he contested for governorship under the APC and lost to current Governor Seyi Makinde of the PDP in 2019. He then resigned from the APC, joined the Accord Party, where he ran in 2023 and lost once again to Seyi Makinde. But he has said it is his turn, aka Emilio Kon in Oyo State. Mr. C.
Okay. Thank you, Ayo. So the minister, Mr. Adelabo, was in Ibadan over the weekend, and he was addressing APC party faithful, and he adopted the mantra of his mentor, the current president, in saying that Emiloko, it is my turn. Now, why did he say it's his turn? I want to quote him verbatim. I have been on this journey for a while now. I believe it's not the day you start politics that you begin to reap the benefits. I have now paid my dues. I contested against the governor in 2019. In 2023, I also contested against the governor, then as a sitting governor. But this 2027, God has shown me that it is my turn. That's his reason.
Not because he wants to take Oyo State to the next level or anything.
Not because he's competent, not because he has any plan for the state and its inhabitants, but because, according to him, two things. He has paid his dues, whatever that means, and two, God told him it's his turn. Now, I do not doubt that he heard a voice. It is whose voice he heard that is in question. Now, take his stint as Minister of Power. Will he be remembered fondly by the people of Nigeria with regards to his performance as the Minister for Power? If we think of the many nicknames he's been given whilst in office as a Minister for Power, is that any sort of indicators that the Oyo people can begin to look forward to brighter days ahead? I've always said he appeared to be a success at the central bank. But this Ministry of Power gig, he's a round peg in a square hole. And it's really sad that these are the reasons he proffered as to why it's his turn. I want to believe there are more serious-minded people in your state who are willing and able to run. But if his performance as power minister is anything to walk by, the good people of Oyo State are in for a very, very incredible ride if they elect him governor.
Well, so you mentioned that you don't doubt that he heard voices, speaking to him. For those who have watched WWE at some point, even Randy Orton hears voices in his head. So I don't know what voices he was actually hearing, but we need to get to a point where anyone who aspires to political office doesn't just aspire to be there because, oh, I've paid my dues, and I feel like it's my turn. My turn to do what exactly
How do
is
you
the
pay the
question.
dues?
That's what I'm saying. That we need
And
to
who
get
did he
beyond.
pay? And who did he pay the dues to? And I will tell you, I saw a guy who heard voices on the road the other day. He had Rastafarian hair and he was a bit disheveled. So everybody hears voices. It just depends on who is talking and what they're telling you and how you respond. Voices are not motivation enough. Not a word about the good people of Oyo came in this conversation. That's just intriguing.
Let me take your messages as we wrap up on the show this morning. Ajayi Olunilua in Makoto Jerry Sherry. Good morning to you, Ajayi. Happy New Year to you as well. It's another bombshell of certificate forgery against a serving minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mr. Uche Naju. Since the University of Nsukka and NYC have denied issuing his certificates, he must immediately resign or be removed from his position and prosecuted. And it's heartwarming that Lagos State has established its own power distribution companies to take over from the fraudulent discos. All right, Fabian in Ekwe. Good morning, Fabian. He says, congratulations to our teachers. I hope the government will improve their training, welfare, and remuneration. Yesterday was World Teachers Day. We'll be talking about that tomorrow on Lagos Talks. I couldn't get everything together ready for today. He says, did the authorities not go through the minister's credentials with a fine-tooth comb before he was given the job? Questions, questions, and more questions. In an ideal situation, he would have been immediately suspended and investigations conducted. But this is Nigeria. The movie continues. Chidozie says, even if he heard voices, it's not our business. What matters here is if democracy is truly what it is in Nigeria, it's in the hands of the people to decide who their next governor would be. People can hear voices when hallucinating. Well,
My point exactly.
Gilbert Musa in Festac says, on the alleged certificate discrepancies, it points out the need to build strong institutions in Nigeria and engage people with proven track records of integrity to engage with such established institutions. Since July 1975 till date, we have a record of weak institutions in Nigeria. In instances where laws emerge, such laws or rules are equally weak. All right, thank you, Gilbert, for your message. Jerry says, good morning, Ayo and all. Those just arose recently. The real reason for the insecurity is there's no political will in ending it. How are you hobnobbing or hobnobbing with the people, hobnobbing, you mean, with the people killing innocent citizens that you claim to be fighting? Ethnic cleansing and religious superiority mentality, it is. Okay, this is who's talking to me here. This is Leko in Lagos says, you can't build your country, your government on lies, eye service, and propaganda and hypocrisy and expect to prosper. You can't help tell George Akume he's the square peg in round hole that I'm confused. Is this connected to what we're talking about this morning, Leko? Because we didn't talk about George Akume at all. Tayo and
Maybe
Aja
he
says,
was in charge of the screening process. Who knows? As the secretary to state government, I don't know. Maybe that's where he's going.
Tayo in Aja says, I hope the situation with our power sector isn't problem has changed name, PHCN in brackets. The part of the arms war problem is profiteering allowed by military and other forces. It's not by cursing. Government needs to disincentivize these illegal flow of arms and ammunition as well. Let me go to YouTube very quickly. A couple of comments here. Ngozi Anikwe says, oh dear, if government officials lie about educational qualifications, how can they be deemed fit and competent for the job? This one is from Emmanuel Chilike. He says, good morning to the analysts in the House. Lagos, among other states, need to take a cue from what Abia State government has done. Aba has 24 hours of power. I'm currently in Aba. All right, good stuff coming out there. Slowly and steadily, we will put it all together. Good Olgado, good morning to you. Anyways, we need to wrap it up. Thank you all so very much for the comments. Always a pleasure hearing from you. And thank you so very much, Mr. C and AB, for making it a great start to our Monday. AB.
Thank you all so much. The comments and thoughts from the listeners actually illuminate a lot. Let them illuminate like Excel Disco in Lagos. And thank you, Ayo. Thank you, Mr. C. Thank you to all the wonderful listeners. Have a very productive day ahead. Carpe diem.
Seize the day, Mr. C.
Thank you, Irons. Thank you, AD. Thank you, wonderful listeners, for tuning into the program. And here's to a beautiful and prosperous week ahead. And may we all enjoy the fruits of our labor. Take care.
Amen. So that do take it easy as you get on about your business this Monday morning. But you also need to keep it tuned right here, Smooth 98.1 and the Smooth Breakfast as well. 8:15, it's all about a recap and looking forward to great sporting action. Hey, for all the big boys and the little boys who want to